Nerdrotic.com.
I've said for quite some time in this channel that escapism is important, especially in times like these, but we have lost that escapism to the woke and divisive Hollywood. But maybe they have learned the error of their ways, and I believe they've come up with a solution. Now, it's not going to solve all of our problems, but it might take our mind off of things for a couple of hours. What the world needs now is a Star Trek Discovery movie. Before I get to the stunning and brave cinematic possibilities of one Michael Burnham, I'd like to ask you to please consider subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos. It really does help. Thank you to all who have subscribed, and I thank you for your continued support. Now, this article comes from the very reputable We've Got This Covered and Christian Bone. Star Trek Discovery movie reportedly in the works. First plot details revealed. I cannot tell you how much I want this to be true. I am praying to the good Lord above for there to be a Star Trek Discovery movie. Once all this levels out and the world gets back to normal, I think Michael Burnham is the hero that we need. Studio bosses clearly have a lot of faith in Star Trek Discovery. Clearly, Season 3 hasn't even aired yet, but early this month, it was reported that it's already been renewed for a 5th season. They skipped the 4th season and they just went to the 5th season. That's incredible. The show deserves credit for ushering in a golden age of Star Trek on TV too, and both Short Treks and Star Trek Picard following it on CBS All Access, service. We got serviced. All right. And the next journey of the USS Discovery could see it boldly go into a whole new medium. I'm sorry. According to our sources, the same ones who said Transformers is being rebooted and National Treasure 3 is in development. Oh, wait, Christian Bone, were those the same sources that told us that we were going to get a Doctor Who movie rumored to be in development with new casting? Too bad you didn't run with my Doctor Who rumor. You would have gotten one right. I'm not too sure about the Transformers being rebooted. Maybe so. But I know National Treasure 3 is in development, and we can all agree that Nicolas Cage is a national treasure. Paramount and CBS are developing a Discovery movie. The film would bring back the cast of the show, led by Sonequa Martin Green as Michael Burnham, and could even see them crossing over with the stars of the rebooted series from Jar Jar Abrams. The current idea is that the Discovery would end up in the Kelvin timeline, and they'll meet the Enterprise crew from Abrams' films. It probably won't be the entire crew, but the studio is keen on getting back Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto as Kirk and Spock at the very least. Now, this sounds like the desperate ramblings of a clingy Star Trek Discovery fan desperate to keep its show relevant, which it isn't. Star Trek Picard, which is waning in popularity itself, has proven that Star Trek Discovery is a complete flop, and CBS has been hiding this for years. And the best way to prove me wrong and other critics wrong is to put it in the theaters. And like I've said before, I dare you to make a movie based on Star Trek Discovery. I dare you to put it in the middle of summer, put it right up against an MCU film, and see what happens. Given that the project is only in the early stages of development right now, though, there's a lot of time for things to change. That's what you call a CYA moment. Most notably, the involvement of Pine and Quinto. Neither actor is locked in just yet, and if they can't get them on board, the studio will go with a different Kirk and Spock instead. Oh, I think there's little doubt that they'll bring Kirk into Star Trek Discovery if it gets another season, which I highly doubt considering the circumstances we're in right now. And rather than the Kelvin timeline, the Discovery would end up somewhere else and meet another version of the Enterprise crew. Now, this sounds incredibly stupid, but we can't put it out of the realm of possibility. Remember, this is Alex Kurtzman we're talking about here. This is Star Trek Discovery we're talking about here. In any case, since the Viacom CBS merger, which might not be on the soundest ground right now. Putting both halves of the franchise under the same roof for the first time since Enterprise, it's been promised that the studio aims to forge a stronger relationship between Trek's movies and the TV shows. I would say they should focus a stronger relationship with their fan base, which is dwindling and getting very old. So it would certainly make a lot of sense to launch Star Trek Discovery onto the big screen in this way and tie it into the Abrams universe. Alex Kurtzman would love everyone to think that he is the Kevin Feige of Star Trek, but unfortunately for him, he is the Alex Kurtzman of the Dark Universe, and he has destroyed this franchise because he simply doesn't care. This is Star Trek made for people who don't like Star Trek, made by people who don't know anything about Star Trek. Now, they could have taken the time, watched every episode of each series, but they have clearly not done this. Every single episode of Star Trek Discovery, every single short trek, every single Star Trek Picard episode has a violation of canon and or a violation of Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future. That optimistic, hopeful vision, that inspirational vision. Now it's dark, it's dire, it's bleak, it's hopeless, it's dystopian Trek. And it's the last thing we need right now. Star Trek used to be the perfect escapism, the perfect way to take your mind off the worries of the world for a couple of hours, but no longer. Alex Kurtzman has now given us severed Klingon baby heads, cannibalism, and Klingon torture rape scenes, coupled with a Starfleet that is duplicitous and evil in both Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard. We have a Starfleet that is willing to commit genocide, along with the Federation backing that up. And in Star Trek Picard, we have Starfleet willing to kill an entire ship of its own crew members. If that's not a betrayal of Gene Roddenberry's vision, I'm really not sure what the hell you were watching. And considering what's going on, Hollywood is going to pay the price for their woke, divisive politics, for their identity politics that have been dividing us for the last 4 years, and their chickens are going to come home to roost. In a way, though, if Alex Kurtzman stays the course, he will bring us all a lot of unintentional laughter. It is one of the most amusing shows on television, although it doesn't mean to be. And I have to admit, that is out-of-the-box thinking with skipping a season 4 and just renewing a season 5. We'll see how that works out for him. But let's go to Twitter, and my good friend Rob Gallo from Midnight's Edge says, "Go ahead, I dare you." And indeed we do. Do we need to start a GoFundMe to make this happen? Because I will. Starry-Eye Girl, where's the money coming from? That's a very good question, considering that we've heard that Netflix and Amazon are both going to be out of the Star Trek business soon. Again, that's a rumor. I cannot confirm that. That's just what I've heard. Derek McManus says, well, let's see how this works out. I don't think it's going to work out very well. We can always count on STD Sucks to reply in all caps. This is complete BS. JD is a cuck. I'm very sorry to hear that, JD. Ah, well, if they put them far into the future, you don't need lore. And that's where I'm going to disagree with you, Mr. Cuck. A lot of people think that Star Trek Discovery is removing itself from canon by going 900 years into its future, 800 years into Star Trek Picard's future, where the opposite is true. Anything Star Trek Discovery does in Season 3, or says, becomes established canon that anybody who's doing any Trek previous to this will have to work up to. It will obliterate canon. Catherine writes, never have I ever wanted something from We Got This Covered to be true ever before. But this, oh God, please, yes, after Season 3 airs, they can't fix these numbers like they do everything else. And that is true, Catherine. They won't be able to hide this, and that's why it won't happen. Narc, the House of Klain, and I double dare them, as do I triple dare them. Charles Smithers says, admission, it's a Kelvin timeline show. I think that would fix a lot of problems. The show would still suck, but it wouldn't be destroying canon. But if they go into the Kelvin timeline after they've done this and it doesn't erase season 1 and 2, then it's all for naught. There is my response. I was a little amused by the whole thing. Matt says, I'd kind of like to see this happen for the hilarious box office numbers, as would I. Carmen DeSanto says,
sheer fucking hubris.
Just because it's on the nose doesn't mean it isn't funny. Brian Hunn writes, I hope the crew over at Legal CBS put down the crack pipes soon. CBS Legal responds immediately, that's defamation. We were acquitted of those charges. Naim Ahmed writes, who in their right minds would fund this movie? Hashtag Star Trek at the moment is so bad right now, I don't watch any of it. Bad Reboot and Kurtzman need to be gone completely before canon in hashtag Star Trek can come back again. Hashtag Fake Trek. And this reminds me that I no longer use the hashtags hashtag Star Trek Picard, or hashtag Star Trek Discovery, because it does help the show. I would recommend hashtag Fake Trek, just like Name did right there. Orfeo writes, would love it, deal with it. And Rob responds with, oh, we'll deal with it. All they're doing at this point is providing more material for us. That Junkman says, OMG, people still believe that site? No, Junkman, people don't actually believe that site. Divine Guardian, we got this covered, also known by alias, we've got nothing covered, or it's all made up. Shinyango the Dragon Slayer states, we got this covered, isn't that reliable of a source? Really? Rob again responds with, the bastion of journalistic integrity. Sam Rory writes, oi, can they be this stupid? Oh, Alex Kurtzman can certainly be this stupid. No, we don't believe this article is true. No, none of us believe they would ever be dumb enough to make a Star Trek Discovery movie, but you can't put it out of the realm of possibility that Alex Kurtzman didn't try. Now, Alex Kurtzman is known to pay a lot of homage. He likes to pay tribute to a lot of other films and television shows. I've done a video on this. You can check it out right here. Now, I don't mean to put down anyone who pays homage or pays tribute to a film or a TV show that inspired them. There's nothing wrong with that if it's done in moderation and it adds to the artistic integrity of the show or film you are working on. And I would like to praise Alex Kurtzman for paying homage to Shutterstock in the latest episode of Star Trek Picard. Truly a brave, stunning, and bold move by the king repurposer Alex Kurtzman, and I was sure to pass that on to Anas Abdeen so he could pass it on to his lawyers, because it's just another piece of evidence that Alex Kurtzman has no originality, and maybe he did indeed rip off my good friend Anas Abdeen. If you don't know about that, check out the video I provided earlier. Now, it disappoints me to no end that Star Trek Discovery will not be made into a film and released in theaters, because I would love to see it crash and burn. I would love to see it rejected by the fandom. We've already seen Doctor Who completely rejected by its fandom. We've seen the mighty Star Wars rejected by a large portion of its fandom and brought down to mediocrity. We've seen the comic industry brought to its knees by being rejected by a large portion of its fandom. There's a common theme here. I can't quite figure it out. Oh yes, people are sick and tired of the divisiveness. They're sick and tired of the political correctness. They're sick and tired of identity politics. They're sick and tired of the entertainment industry, of Hollywood, and of the BBC. We're sick and tired of being preached at. We want to be entertained. We want to give you money, but you consistently disrespect the fandom within your narrative, and you have your actors popping off at people on Twitter, and you have your repurposers popping off in other places, and we see what happens. People are done with this, and considering what's going on right now, you better start learning customer service today, or it's all going to be over for you.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.